Because you're not gonna find your target fan base most of the time, because a lot of the guys that end up wanting to make this a full-time career, they already have some basic understand of supply and demand. And so they already realize, okay, if I keep on making sounds that, nobody in the planet can relate to, there's gonna be no demand for it. So a lot of the time the music is generally built around the contemporary hip hop with like little hi-hats, and trying to keep it very simple, but also keep it so it's mainstream, but also add their own taste.
Perfect.
I just want to talk in general. What do you see people doing wrong? Obviously, there's so many mistakes that are being made on a daily basis from everyone. Everyone makes mistakes, but what are the most common mistakes you're seeing from these guys who don't really know how to market themselves as a musician, producer, rapper, whatever?
Okay, that was a good question, man. We're going in deep with the value. I like it. It's nice because then we get to actually show some actionable steps and what producers and musicians can do to really improve their craft and market better. So I would say the first major mistake that musicians do, producers do, before they even realize it. This is something that a lot of people don't talk about, which kind of makes me want to blow my brains up. Because it's so fundamental. So your song, your beat, your instrumental, whatever you make, that's a product. And all producers, if you look at product, producer, you create product, right? Audio products. And everybody, I'd say 99% of producers can agree with that. But when it comes to marketing, they always look at it in like the grand scheme, like I can't market, I don't know who's gonna watch, who's gonna buy my beats, who's gonna do whatever. But I think that you gotta flip the script a little bit. You're a producer at making music and also a producer at marketing, meaning that each campaign is a product in its own. So if you treat it like a product rather than just like a marketing piece to get the product out, treat it as two independent products, then I think you'll be able to construct much better campaigns.
Marketing's about values. This is a very complicated world. It's a very noisy world. We're not going to get a chance to get people to remember much about us. But even a great brand needs investment and caring if it's going to retain its relevance and vitality. And what is it that we stand for? Where do we fit in this world? Is that we believe that people with passion can change the world for the better.
Whoa.
That's what we
I
do.
heard music that was out of this world. This sounded like, you remember
Can't keep my dick in my pants. Hey.
everybody's like, yo, what? It was something we've never seen before. Because all of the aspects of marketing, such as branding, and there's like the technical stuff, like if you're gonna be using ads, CPA, and all that stuff, all those things, when you're producing a track, you gotta look about the sample. You gotta make sure you're EQing right. You gotta make sure you're getting all those right. Like if you hear it's peaking, no one's gonna use the audio, right? When you're producing a song, do you agree? And when you're producing, I should say, a marketing campaign, you should treat it with the same seriousness. So I think if you look at it that way, both as a marketing producer and an audio producer, then you have a way better time to get over that bridge way faster, because then you'll be able to say you get some new advice, you're able to test it instantaneously. So you get some new tests, like, okay, I'm building the perfect product to promote my new beat. So think about it. I'm gonna need to have some sort of cover art that people can see it. It's visual for Instagram. I'm gonna need to make like a snippet. I gotta choose the best part, or I'm gonna be able to need the right distributors for my product. Treat it as if it's an actual viable product, like a pair of sneakers, Jordans. The way they distribute it, each campaign is a big product, so have the same mindset.
And the last time the Jordan 3 Black Cement released at a retail of $160, it sold out globally in minutes. And that's because people were camped outside of sneaker stores for days before it went on sale. For the brands, sneakerheads are a very important demographic. These are the tastemakers. That's because, unlike Apple, who will sell an iPhone to anyone who wants one, Nike doesn't make their money by just selling $200 sneakers. They sell millions of shoes to millions of people for $60. And sneakerheads are the ones that drive the marketing and the hype and the PR and the brand cachet and enable Nike to sell millions of $60 sneakers. It's marketing.
100%. What you were talking about is literally, it's two things. You can have good music, but it's more than just having good music. Once you perfect both, that's when you'll start to see some success. Especially in this day and age, there's so many people just talking and giving advice. Like there's so many people, overwhelming for a lot of people. You're one of those guys that just talks all the time on the internet. Like you are Jabari, you're always talking. You're like, here's how to improve your career as a music, and you're super energetic about it. If I was like a new producer and I was looking for people to take advice from, what are some things to watch out for taking advice from people online?
Because out of 100 pieces of advice, 80% is irrelevant. 20% is actually good for you. So I'd say the best thing to do as a producer, knowing that there's like information overload, there used to be a time you know, when getting good information was hard because there was no information out there. Now it's kind of like the opposite. So I think one way to look at it, and the way I look at it when I get information, it's really important that you always relate it back to your project at hand. So I look at it as a project basis. So instead of looking at it like I look at it like I have a big plan, but I say break it down, because say a producer's working on 3 different beats. I would say instead of just looking for inspiration and advice, because I mean there's inspiration everywhere. Don't look for inspiration or advice. I'd say do very targeted keyword searches of what your exact problem is, and then work on solving that problem. So usually we say go, you know, put out content, but I'd say focus on the smaller details in relation to the big picture. Instead of taking less information, just change the type of information you're taking.
If you're not constantly improving and getting better at your content or your videos or whatever, you're just throwing stuff out there that's the same level of quality every single time. And it's gonna get some good engagement, but if you want to actually progress and get better and go at a faster rate, I think that's huge.